Ready?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Sorry about that.
Hey everyone, it's Lucy at the Trap.StarrPodcast, and today we're here with Keflon. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank y'all for having me.
Go ahead, introduce yourself. Tell people a little bit about yourself. Where are you from?
Me, shit. My name is Keflon. Most of y'all probably call me Keflondon. I'm from New York. Been living out here now for about 8 years, give or take. Yeah, I'm a sound engineer, producer, anything with sound, I'm there.
Okay, where exactly from New York are you?
Manhattan.
Are you from?
So Manhattan, Uptown Washington Heights, Dykeman, Little Cross Streets area, 207th Street, Nagel Avenue. That's where I was raised. I was born in, I think it was Christopher Columbus Hospital. It's up there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was it like growing up there? What was your childhood and upbringing like?
It was cool. I mean, it was a lot. It was a dangerous area, but luckily I have brothers and my cousins that I grew up with that took me under their wing, and everything was just cool. They were staying out of trouble, so because I was around, they had to lead
Okay.
the example. So yeah.
Okay, that's dope. And then, did you ever think that you would end up here doing what you're doing now? Like, how did that come about?
Uh, let's see. I kind of thought I was gonna do it, just because of the sole fact that my family, from my mom's side, they're like musicians. Um, I have a uncle that plays for like a big band in the Dominican
Oh,
Republic, and
wow.
like
What band? Do you know
I
any?
I
Oh,
forgot.
it's
Yeah,
okay.
it's been a long time, but he's like he played a hella instruments, and everybody was in the scene. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay, that's dope. So you come from a musical background, kind of.
Yeah, yeah.
And what kind of music did you listen to growing up? Who influenced you?
Well, whatever my brother was playing, I had to hear because at that age you really don't have access to much or whatever was on TV, and I was fortunate enough to grow up around like BT and 106 and Park, and just like that's how I was tapped in with the rap scene, and my brother would play like slow jam music or oldies music, and I would pick up that up from him, and then he'll play Spanish music, of course, and that's, my mom would play a bunch of Spanish music.
Okay, but what about beats, or what necessarily drew you in about that aspect of the whole
So
industry?
beats, so wait, what are you asking again? I'm sorry.
Yeah, like I mean, to specifically like recording or beats, what drew you into that thing?
Shit. So what drew me into making beats? So I started out rapping,
Okay.
actually, and when I was rapping, I was with a bunch of friends. This was like middle school, high school, and when you were with a group of people, everybody want to rap, nobody want to make beats. So then I started making beats,
Okay.
and then when I started making beats, nobody wanted to record. So then I learned how to record. By that time, I lost my rapping like skills. I still could write, here and there, but I learned like recording and producing, and then that's
Okay.
what I got strong at. And then from there, the rest was like history.
Okay. What was like the first big project that you were a part of?
Shit. Let's see. Um, I don't know, like, cause shit, that's a good question. I did. So when I was in college, I had to do an internship at Saltwine Studios, which is the biggest recording studio in Arizona. I've got to work with G Herbo there. I got to sit in a session and assist the session. So I was kind of one of the early like successes that I've had, although I didn't get the credit of it. It's cool. When you intern and you just happy to be in the room.
And then who else have you worked with now?
I've
Like
worked with,
more names, share more names with us.
So I've worked with Skip Marley, Bob Marley's grandson. I've worked with, let's see, Rowdy Rax, Bodie James, Smoke Dizza, Drex the Joint. I've worked with Beef Iron before. I've worked with King's Most Wanted. The list goes
Sick.
on, and
Yeah. And how do you feel about that? Like,
I feel like it's cool. I feel like I haven't like touched the surface of what I really want to get to, but I'm fortunate to work with a bunch of artists that are talented. You know what I mean?
and how did that come about? Like, how did you move from New York to LA? And
I was so all right. So in New York, I lived there till I was like 11, 12 years old. 11, 12, 13. It was around that time. It was a long time ago. So my mom visited Arizona with my aunt, and they were like, hey, we're going to move to Arizona. I'm like, fuck, what the fuck is Arizona? Like, all I know is New York, you know? So I moved to Arizona, and it was such a culture shock. And it was just like, what the fuck is this? Like, desert.
yeah.
I'm a city boy, and going into a desert place, it was just a lot. But I adapted quick. So from there, I did high school.
But still not involved in any music? Or,
No, yeah, that was around the time like it was middle school, high school, like you know, people doing music, you find your friends, and
yeah. Yeah.
so yeah, I was doing
The
somewhat.
rapping.
Yeah, that's when I was doing the rapping.
The rapping.
Yeah, yeah. So then after that, I went to college, and I did my little associates in recording engineering and general studies.
That's dope.
And then from
Congratulations.
there, I appreciate it. So from there, I did my internship at that studio,
Yeah.
and I was there for like 4 years. And I was like, man, I had a choice. I was like, man, I could either go back to New York or just come out here to California.
Right.
And I was like, you know, at the time, I was thinking, you know what? I got my mom still lives in Arizona, so it's easier to drive there to go see her than to fly from New York to go see her. So I was like, you know, at the time, my friend at the time, he was like, man, I want to move out there too. So I was working at Walmart, and I had a job transfer. So I was like, well, shit, let me just transfer this job here and figure this out here. And then that's when I moved from Arizona to here. And
Okay.
then, yeah.
And how did you start getting like connected with the people you just mentioned now? Like, how did that come about?
So I mean, shit. My first breakthrough out here, I would do like networking events and stuff like that. I would go to some, you know, met a few cool people along the way. But what really got me going was when the owner of the Z Room, there was a studio called the Z Room, which was in Paramount, owned by Z God at the time. He's out there on somewhere, I don't know. Haven't heard from that guy in a minute, but he posted looking for an engineer. Mind you, I'm still working my Walmart job. I'm like paying no mind. I'm like, it's cool, you know what I mean? He didn't respond. He left me on red. I was like, it's cool, you know, if it's not meant to be, I'm not going to force it. I'm not going to press it. It's on
Right.
God's timing, you know? So then here we go again. He's like looking for an engineer. It was like 2 months later. And then he's like, he responded. He's like, yo, pull up to the studio. Let's see if you know something. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, all right, cool. And
You're
then,
like, you don't know who, you don't
yeah,
know who
yeah,
he's talking to. Like.
yeah. Like, I mean, I'm just a regular dude. Like, I don't be working with
No,
much
but
people.
you went to school for it. Like, what?
Yeah, but you know what's crazy is that until you're in those rooms and in those situations, you won't know how to deal with stuff because you're dealing with artists, and every artist has a different personality. They don't teach you that in school. You know, it's like, for example, like you interview, you'll deal with different people. You don't know what you're gonna get from somebody that day. So he was just like, yo, like, come through, check the studio out. I was like, all right, go in there, and I recorded this guy. His name is Sugar Bear. He was a dude in a electrical wheelchair. He had no limbs.
Okay.
And I was like, all right, cool, I guess. And you know, and he was like, yo, I fuck with your work. Next thing you know, Z was like, all right, bro, this is cool. You passed your first test. Next thing you know, he calls me back like 2 days later. He's like, yo, what you doing today? I'm like, man, I'm off because my job at Walmart, I used to work 3 12s and then I had 4 days off. It's a cool little schedule. Next thing you know, he calls me. He's like, yo, let's work, or I got an artist that want to work. And I'm like, oh, who is it? And he's like, MCM Raymond. I'm like, I don't know what MCM is. I just like, okay, cool. Like, you know, I like to look at the artists so I could get their vibe before I get in the studio. And then, yeah, so next thing you know, I'm recording MCM Raymond, and King pops into, and then the following day after that was like Inhale. So that whole week was like back to back to back. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. Z's like calling me. He's like, yo, people are requesting you. But at the time, I was charging so low because I felt confident in my work, but I didn't know how the game was out here. I didn't know how much people were charging, or like, you know what I mean? I'm just, I was just still fresh, and I was like, it's cool. I was just trying to work, just trying to get my name out there while working a job still. So, yeah, that was my first like really introduction out here to music out here.
Okay, that's dope. And then that just went evolving to.
Yeah, evolved. Yeah, it was like, I think that whole month was a crazy month because then I recorded Duno and the Homies in that whole month, and it was like Swifty Blue, and I was like, everybody was in that studio.
Those were just like word of mouth, like references? Or?
Yeah, well, Z had that studio, was like a popular studio at the time. So like before O3 went to jail, like O3 was in there recording. So it's like, it was a common studio that people would go to because they had
being at the right place at the right time kind of thing.
Yeah. So yeah, he was just tapping in with me anytime he had a session. He'd be like, yo, you want to take this? I'm like, shit, I'm not doing nothing today. Let's do it.
Yeah,
you know?
And before we started recording, we were talking a little bit about how the credits work and all that. And it's just, you know, not that much acknowledgement or.
Yeah, I think especially.
But in other genres, there is. That's the thing.
Yeah, so I mean, it's crazy because like as a kid, me growing up, when you buy albums or buy CDs, that booklet would have everything on the back of it, like who did what, who wrote what, where'd you get the
pages
sample
and pages,
of like where'd you get the sample from, or where'd you know what I mean, or who recorded the track. I think it's a lost art now, and unless you really doing your research or like you're really out there, people don't really look at that anymore, which is crazy. But if you go to a different genre, they'll give you your credentials, or you know, they'll give you, hey, you did this. But also, I think with these labels, a bunch of people that work in the A&R department, they don't care about it. Because again, like me working with like Girls Love Dev, he was signed to Capitol, and his A&R would hit me. He was like, "Hey, what songs you do on this album?" And I'm like, "I did this one, this one, this one." And then you're like, "Okay, what do you want your name labeled as?" And I'll tell him, he'll just input it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I think it's just depending on the A&Rs too. Like, but some people don't really care, and it's just like, man, like, you know, shit. I've, you know, most of those records that are out, I've probably done a couple of them. You know.
What about plaques? Can you do anything in that regards?
So with plaques, I don't have any plaques yet.
But could you, since you were involved? Do you know?
Yeah, I can, but I feel like
You never just looked into it.
I never looked into it just because the streams are not that high, or like, because certifications are
They're
different.
not there yet.
Yeah, they're not there yet. Yeah, they might be big records to people,
Well,
you know what I mean? But it's like, not yet. But someday I'll get it. I don't know.
Yeah. And where do you see yourself like 5 years from now? What are you working on, or who would you like to work with?
Shit, who would I like to work with?
That was 3 questions. Sorry.
I know, yeah. You want to break that down?
Okay.
Like,
Where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
5 years from now, shit. I would say, That's a good
It's
question.
not that much time.
It's not that much, and it'll go by super
And
quick.
yeah, but then it will add it does add a few years.
It does, yeah. Sheesh. That's a good question. 5 years, I feel like being more stable, and having a more stable clientele, which I have now, but also like helping these artists evolve to their best of their abilities, and just helping them grow, and then hopefully one of these artists, blow. I've seen artists blow left and right, but being able to be a part of that process would be great.
Yeah, definitely. And okay, so my next question is, who would you like to work with?
Shit.
Anybody from the Inland Empire specifically?
Anybody from the IE? Shit. See, I record so much music, I don't be in tune with that much. I really just be like, when people ask me, like, yo, what do you listen to? Like, after a session, it's a lot of instrumentals or like lo-fi music or even opera. Like, it's just because I record so much rap music. It's like, but an artist that I would love to work with, I mean, does it have to be major, local? Like, you know what I mean?
Anybody.
See, I would say Jay-Z.
Okay.
That would be cool because that's one of my all-time favorite rappers.
Yeah.
If they were a dead person, it'd be Michael Jackson.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's a genius.
He's like one of your idols.
I wouldn't say one of my idols. I just feel like he's a very artsy person. Like the way he would layer songs or sing certain things.
Yeah.
It's like,
Just to be in the studio with him.
yeah, that would be a great vibe for sure.
And what would you say for, the younger generation that, we're not in your position, but, kind of same kind of upbringing that are trying to make it or have dreams like that? What would you say to them?
I would say to them is stick to God and bet on yourself. Because if you don't bet on yourself, no one else will. So the moments you feel like, hey, I'm not confident or I can't do this, seek it through. You might fail, but from that failure, you're going to learn and you're going to go way further. So, I failed plenty of times in my life and I'm still here to this day, So thank you, God, for going through all that. But yeah, just bet on yourself and just keep at it. Something's going to happen. It's like if you don't do it, it's not going to happen.
For sure not
and before you give up, ask yourself, did I even try, or did I do this 100 times or 1,000 times? Did I put in the 10,000 hours? You just never really know,
Okay, that's dope. And what's something that you've learned, like a difficult thing that you've learned within the industry?
A difficult thing? In what way?
Like it was just, how sometimes you just have to go through some shit, like hard shit to learn. Like, okay, well, I shouldn't be that way because of this, or I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of odd. Not to put you on the spot, but I'm trying to think of it. What was the question again? I'm sorry.
Just
I'm sorry.
like a tough situation that you've learned from, like a lesson from the music industry, if you will. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So a lesson is don't let nobody play you out of your position, because people be like, hey, yeah, let's do this free work, or you'll see the end of the tunnel, but it's like, when the rent's due on the first, you can't tell your landlord, hey, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, yeah,
I'm working on the album.
Yeah. And like, it's cool. Like, just make sure you got your finances all straight. Like sometimes you go broke doing this, and hey, you just got to grind it out, but don't do no work where you're not getting compensated for, especially if you have done this for a long time or you've built yourself. You know what I mean? You're a name for yourself. Yeah.
Would you do it if it was an artist that you really believe in, or you're, behind, or what do you think about collaborations? Just, like if you really wanted to be in that studio, would you still do it? You said you wanted to work with like Jay-Z.
Yeah, but you see, Jay-Z's going to pay you.
He's going to pay you.
He's going to pay you.
Yeah.
Like, everybody, I think, is like, you pay for
gotta
services, right?
Yeah.
You gonna go to Walmart. I mean, people steal from there all the time, but it's like you gonna go to Walmart. You gonna pay that fee.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you can't do it, you put it
Yeah.
back. You know
You're
what I
saying
mean?
like once you're past a certain amount of time in the game,
Yeah.
then it's like you can't do it.
Yeah, and it's
like
like
you're done with your internship. You're done with your
yeah, and
all
I've I
those
mean
days.
I've done it. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
to get in certain rooms and stuff like that. Like, you know, you build certain relationships with people that'll be like, you know, hey, yeah, I get you. You know what I mean? But you've done it to where you know that they'll get you. Some people will be like, yeah, I get you, but they'll get you and they'll leave you hanging. And it's happened before, you know, but just always stand on business. You know what I mean? Bet on yourself and don't let nobody take you out of your position.
That's right. Yeah, that's dope. And what is your how do your siblings feel and your family just of your, recent success and just overall all of your achievements?
They feel great. You know, shout out to my family. They, you know, they're proud of me just because of the sole fact that we all moved to Arizona, and I was the only one that left the nest. So I'm the only one that
Are they
lived.
still in AZ?
Yeah. So my immediate family. So like my brother, my cousins, and my mom and my aunt and uncle. They're in Arizona. My dad's in New York. And then I have, siblings that I haven't met, but they're spread out. So they're all proud of me. They say keep going. They say I'm one hit away. So I just,
What's their favorite song that you've been a part of?
Sheesh.
Do they like any of them?
Yeah. There was my brother hit me the other day. He didn't know I did this Dom Kennedy and Smoke Dizza record.
Oh, shit. What?
And
That's tight.
it was. But this was like a couple years ago. And as time
What
goes
song
by,
was it?
60/40, produced by Young McFly. So he called me that day and was like, "Yo, I'm in the studio with Dom," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." Like, and yeah, the rest was history. So and they wound up using my mix, but then that's another story. So it's like I got the credit on that song, but when the distributors, he changed distributors, my name was just taken off of it. So it's like, okay, I guess,
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
And I saw Ocho shout you out, a manager,
Yeah.
an IE manager, right? I saw him shout you out on one of his interviews. How has it been, or what's your guys' relationship like?
Oh man, shit. It's been great, you know what I mean? I've been working with bro. Like I told you at the time with Z, when I got that second call for that second session, it was MCM, and MCM was under them, AK with Ocho, AK's Adrian and Kyle. Shout out my boy Kyle too. But Ocho, after that, they both started booking me. And they were like, at a point in time, they were like, yo, what do we have to do to get you out of your job? Because they'll book me so much. I'll do a 12-hour session with them, like a whole 12-hour, and then I'll go to work for 10 hours.
Oh, shit.
And then they'll be like, hey, what are you doing tomorrow? I'm like, bro, like, chill. I'm at work. Like, I need to get some sleep. There's times I just go do it back to back. But they was, they were able to get me out of my situation with work. So, they were like, hey, like they kept booking me, you know what I mean? And then from there on, I was just able to meet artists and, they would refer
So are you
me.
like on payroll now, or how?
So, they got their little distribution. Ocho does. He has his little distribution. So I do get like invoices and stuff like that. So I invoice the label, and, it's definitely a good situation.
I know you were a part of, or you've been working with the Mexican brothers.
The Mexican. Drex and El Moreno. Yeah.
What is your input on their recent drama?
I stay away from it. Those are my guys. El Moreno, he's very dope. I mean, he only speaks Spanish. He'll speak a little English.
Yeah.
But, since I'm bilingual, I speak Spanish and English, I was able to do a whole session with them.
Oh, that's dope.
And it's like I'll speak Spanish to him, and then
Yeah.
Drex was like, "All right, bro, just speak English to me." But Drex will speak Spanish. He'll you know he'll say some stuff. But yeah, I stay far from it. You know,
You don't.
I don't
You don't think
indulge.
they were, they're racist, like people were saying.
No,
like,
no, definitely not. And I've been in the studio with them
yeah,
plenty
so
of
clear it up
times.
for them.
Yeah, so I mean, like, yeah, you're right. But yeah, I don't believe anything that happened.
You don't have anything.
Yeah, I don't have anything
negative.
negative to say. Like, you know, I work with all type of people. You know what I mean? I work with Bloods, Crips, and all type of gangsters, cholos, and I treat everybody the same. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, everybody got different upbringings. You know what I mean? But
And you all need each other in the studio. So it's
exactly.
all respect.
So it's like it's all respect. So it's like I don't, you know, whatever happened with them, like it's unfortunate, but I know they're not like that. You know, they come from, you know, they put on, they have pride. You know what I mean? They're Mexican. They're like, yeah, like, you know, they really put on. So
That's dope.
whatever they were involved in,
Yeah.
I was beyond them, you know.
But since you know them and you've been, in a room with them, I wanted to.
Oh yeah. No,
your
they
opinion.
know. They know. I don't, you know, I don't with any drama or anything, I stay far from it. You know what I mean? If people are beefing, they'll be like, yeah, what you think about? No, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think about.
Yeah.
That's on them. You know what I mean? I'm here to work. We're here to make a record. You know
Yeah,
what I
try
mean?
and
Because
make a hit.
change lives. You know what I mean?
And where can the people tap in to book time with you or, to check out
Shit.
your stuff? Is that even available anymore? Or are you all booked up?
I be booked up, but I still take bookings. Cause there's.
What's your IG?
My IG is Keflondon.
What is it?
207. Let me. My bad. Give me 1 second.
We'll put it in there.
Oh yeah, you got yeah. Let's see. Yeah, Therealkeflondon. I'm sorry, I should have thought about that, but yeah, you can follow me at Therealkeflondon on Instagram, or you could just hit me up with a message. You know what I mean? A lot of it is word to mouth, though. So, if you ever need an engineer, I'm there. Even on the live side, you know what I mean? Oh yeah, I be forgetting I did work with Polo G too. Damn, shit. I work with so many people. I be forgetting.
No, a lot of people. I did some research on you, and we've been trying to get this interview done, and
Oh, really?
definitely, yes.
Dang.
We've been hit you up.
Yeah, we do, but
Like
it was like
month?
scheduling conflicts because it was like
you were too busy or
yeah.
whatever. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
And I want.